Okay, these 5 bob hairstyles are definitely gonna be trending this summer. Before you dive into one, let me explain what's gonna work and what might not work so that you can be sure that you actually love it. All right, if you're new to me, my name is Justin Hickox. I've been doing hair professionally since 1995. So I've done a lot of bob hairstyles, a lot of them. So I'm gonna break down what I know through these different hairstyles might work and might not work. So what I did is I went through all of the most popular blogs and beauty magazines to make sure that I pulled out not just what's trending this summer, but specifically what's gonna be trending when it comes to bob shapes. Okay, the first bob on our list today comes to us from Glamour. They call it the flip up bob. They say the flip up bob is a retro yet updated take on the classic haircut that has made a strong comeback in today's hair trends. Its most defining feature is the outward turn of the tips, the flip up, which creates a curved, voluminous effect that immediately evokes kind of a mid-century glamour. I would definitely 1000% agree with that. This does have very much like that mid-century vibe, like I just said. And to me, it's one of the reasons that I really kind of like this style, right? I think it's very kind of glamorous. But with that said, I think that's something that you need to be aware of. Bobs, I love them because they are so versatile. If you dress up, the bob kind of looks dressed up. If you dress down, the bob kind of looks dressed down. Now that's an important thing to realize on something like this. This is a super kind of polished retro vibe, but it doesn't really, in my opinion, do the same thing. If you dress up with this, yes, it's gonna be very much like red carpet style. But if you dress way down and do the same style, I don't think they mesh as well. It doesn't kind of make as much sense. It looks a little bit off. So just keep that in mind. If you do like the bobs because of the versatility, you might find that this style isn't as versatile. You might be saying, well, then in those days, I'll just flip it under. But the length that these usually set in, what makes them kick out easily is the fact that they break on the shoulders. So if you want it to lay under, it's a little bit like a longer bob. It's likely gonna break on your shoulders, kick out, and the front will lay under, maybe the back will lay under, but the sides aren't gonna really match that. If it's a direction you wanna head, just remember that, it's going to be a little bit more limiting, in my opinion, with the way that it shapes. But aside from that, I actually love it. I love it when you tuck behind the one ear and it flips out. I think it's really glamorous. It's cool. It's definitely a cool look. And side note, all of these articles that I reference are gonna be linked in the description below so that you can find them. There's a lot more insight into them aside from just the bob part of this. So definitely go check them out. Might be some other insight in there that you really like. Okay, spoiler alert. This next one comes from Birdie, and I'll tell you right now, it is my favorite of all of them. The personal touch bob. I love this. What does it look like, Justin? Tell me, explain this personal touch bob. I can't. That's what I love so much about it. Here's what they say. When opting for a short bob, it's crucial to get one that suits you specifically. As Hilary Duff does here, it comes down to face shape and lifestyle rather than actual hair types. McMahon, the stylist, said, consider how much time you have in the morning to recreate the look and make sure you get the perfect length for your features. This is a stylist that understands not just bob shapes, but understands hair. It isn't just important that you like the cut. It's important that the cut makes sense for your day-to-day routine and, more importantly, your face shape. And that's why I love this so much, because they added that into this whole thing. Consider the length for your features. So many of these styles, let's take the last one for instance, the flip out bob, are required to have a certain amount of length to create the overall look. But in reality, if that length looks cool, it's a cool shape, but let's say for instance that you've got a very long face and you feel like this length is gonna add more length to your face, it doesn't matter how cool the overall style is or how elegant it can be. If it's gonna make your face feel longer and that's a concern for you, then you're not gonna like the way it looks. And then it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, you're not gonna feel great in it. And that's what's most important. So when you find a bob that you like in a magazine, right? Take it in, and that's part of the conversation that you have with the stylist. You make sure that they understand, I like this, but this needs to work for what I see in my face shape, what I do with my hair on a day-to-day basis, with my hair texture. How do we take what I like about this photo and apply it to me for it to make sense? So vital. If I could give a huge high five, McMahon needs a high five. We need that. Let's go on to number 3. An A-line bob is a bob that is shorter in the back and slightly longer in the front. Now this article is all about A-lines and different A-lines that work, but if you look at these photos, there's a lot of photos in here that I would not personally, as a stylist, call or refer to as an A-line bob. It just goes to show you that when you walk into somebody and you say, hey, I'm thinking about this photo that I saw online, and they refer to it as an A-line, and so you say, I want an A-line, and I'm thinking an A-line is something completely different than what you saw because this photo is not an A-line that you're referring to, that's when the problems happen. Okay, so now that we have that off the table, A-lines are amazing. Let me tell you why they're so good. They do a really, really, really good job of drawing the eye up the shape. Meaning again, that when somebody's looking at you, it brings the focus up the shape, which helps to lift things up, but overall also just helps to accentuate jaw structure, bone structure, cheekbone structure, all of that. Now, here's the important thing, and this is why I think this is so important. If you look at the profile of your face, right, do you notice how the jawbone, cheekbone, none of that is parallel to the floor, right? It's all angled up. So when you follow that same line and cut a bob like this, it's gonna swing and flow so naturally. It's gonna grow out so naturally, and it's gonna look really, really, really elegant and very polished. There's a big difference between simply having a line like this or changing that. The second that I go more parallel to the floor, where it's a little bit longer and back, all of a sudden now, just having this line like this starts to draw the focus down this way versus doing this and bringing that focus up that way. How much do you A-line a bob? Well, what's right and what's wrong is what you like, but I will tell you this. An angle on a bob does not start at the back. It starts right behind the ear, which means that if it's straight like this and then you angle it to follow the chin, you don't notice that angle as being overly dramatic. It looks just about right. But if you try to get this angle too dramatic, it ends up going straight, and then it looks like you just have these dog ears that just kind of hang here and they get really long very quickly. So that's why I tend to not like it super dramatic. If you try to make the angle start in the back of the head, from the back, it's just gonna look like a V in the back. Keep that in mind. But man, A-lines, they are my jam. So much my jam. Okay, number 4 comes to us from Allure magazine, and it is what they're referring to as the cheekbone bob. Okay, it's a bob that lands about at your cheekbones. I know, so crazy, right? This edgy look works great for someone who wants to make their face look a bit more angular, as its shorter length adds width and balance to long or oval shaped faces. If you'd also like to draw attention to your eyes, Simon suggests asking your stylist to add a short set of bangs, which can function as a picture frame for them. Definitely not wrong on the bangs. Bangs are a really good way to draw more emphasis to your eyes, but you want to pay attention to the width of your face as well. If you feel like your face is really full and you add a really strong bang, and then especially if you add fullness on a length right into your cheekbones, here, it's going to make your face feel like it's just a big round ball. Unless I was taking a lot of the bulk out of the sides and going quite a bit tighter with it, at which point we're kind of going to be getting a little bit out of this overall bob shape and moving into kind of a different hairstyle, almost closer to like pixie-ish. If you're looking for this exact style of that strong bob line that lands in at about your cheekbones, I think that if your face is a little bit fuller, you might not be as happy with the overall results. It's gonna make you feel like you've got larger cheeks versus the cheek structure that you might be wanting. Now also, if you've got a very pronounced chin, longer chin, very long face, and you feel self-conscious about the size of your chin for some reason, this also might be a little bit problematic for you because as you can see in this photo even, the minute you have a length that goes in at your cheeks, your chin is exposed underneath. And it can oftentimes, if there's too much chin there, make it feel far more prominent than it actually was. Otherwise, all of the ideas of, creating a little bit more angular around the cheekbone structure and all that stuff can absolutely be true. My instructor from when I was going through hair school had this exact cut. It was awesome on her. She wore it, she didn't let it wear her. And I feel like this is one of those cuts. If you don't wear it, it very much can wear you and it can look a little bit off. Now you also want to realize that in many cases, because this is so short on the sides, that means that the back is going to have to go quite short too. So if you're concerned about having that too short in the back, that might be another reason that you want to be a little clearer, steer a little clear of this. Okay, number 5 comes to us from Birdie, a classic bob with bangs. This is another one that I'm a huge fan of. It's the standard kind of timeless bob shape that's paired with some swept off bangs. Sophie Walensky says, trimmed right at her jaw in an impressively blunt chop, the style curved in towards her face to hug her pretty features. The look also featured a lovely fringe that fell slightly to one side thanks to the part of her hair. The bangs landed just over the eyebrows as so not to disturb her shimmery red eyeshadow. I'm absolutely a huge fan of this overall style. I think it's phenomenal, but there are still a couple things that you want to pay attention to. One, you want to think about the amount of bangs. Okay, first of all, does your hairline allow for the amount of bangs that you're going to want to see on this? But then also the amount of bangs you get, or you should be getting, should be determined by your face shape. For instance, if you've got a really full face, right, you feel like it's a little bit too big, a little bit too round, you don't want a really strong full bang that goes all the way across your forehead, because it can make you look even more full. It can draw more emphasis to cheeks, not cheek structure. So you would want it to be swept off a little bit so that you can see part of your forehead through the side of your bang and create a little bit more of that angle, which helps to elongate your face a little bit. And even though you have bangs, it doesn't make it look so full. But aside from that, you also want to make sure that the amount of bangs that you can get with your hairline, meaning the density of hair that you have, creates the amount of bangs that you want to see. So it might be that even though you want to see a fuller bang, you just don't have the hair under your hairline to create that, and that might frustrate you. So in those scenarios, you just want to be a little bit shy of how much bang, or if you decide to do bangs at all. A good way to determine that, just so you know, is you can literally take like a pen or a pencil or a ruler, put it on your head, right? Look in the mirror, and wherever that pen leaves your scalp, right, you can comb that hair forward from that point, and that's essentially what will fall forward. Anything behind that, no matter how, even if you comb it forward and you cut it like a bang, it's not naturally going to fall like that. And the minute you do this, it's going to fall to the side and look like really short bangs. So that's a good way of kind of looking in the mirror in the morning and saying, do I have enough hair to create the kind of bangs that I want if I'm going to move towards a style like this? Also, this type of style isn't related to a specific length range like some other bobs are. So this, you can play with how long that is. And I would say that if you feel like your face is a little bit on the longer side and you want to add a little bit of fullness, then have that bob length land somewhere closer to your chin. But on the other side, if you feel like your face is a little fuller, and especially if you're going to do bangs, then having that bob length in the front land a little bit longer than your chin, even just this much, an inch, inch and a half, can really do a lot to help to kind of elongate it. But if you feel like your face is round and you have that bob land right at your chin and cup under your chin, it's going to make your face look more round or fuller and could make you feel like it's too round. So keep that in mind. A little bit longer if you want to make your face look longer, and a little bit closer to the chin if you want to make your face look fuller. Those are 5 super trendy bob hairstyles that you're going to be seeing this summer. Now you know. If you liked this video, you're going to love this video. So why don't you head over there, and I'll meet you over there. And I'll meet you. I always sounds like a talk show host. We'll see you later. Bye.